my brother, my classmate over there, Cetus Reed, and he come in and said, we got another program going on, Brother Cetus.
Yes, sir.
Come on, have a seat and tell
Okay.
folks what's going
Okay.
on.
Well, first of all, Judge, I want to thank you for allowing us a few minutes to just make some comments. And as usual, you always on time with opening your program up for the community so everyone can understand what's happening. This year, this time last year, we sat in this very spot at this very time talking about Lanier celebrating its 100-year anniversary.
Yes, sir.
And 2025 was a wonderful year. We did a good celebration. We had our school nationally recognized by some programs, banquets, and so forth. And we also produced a mini documentary on the school, its history, and some of our noted alumni. But it was brought to my attention that we didn't quite include all of our noted alumni. And so this program that I'm about to talk about, the Living Legends, is part of the follow-up to that. But I want to certainly sit here and be the first to apologize to my brother, my friend, my classmate, whom I grew up with.
Georgetown.
All the way through elementary and high school. We failed to mention Judge Shamsuddin, a municipal court judge, attorney, noted radio personality, and all of those things in our documentary. And Randall Pinkston, who's a national syndicated broadcaster, put that together for us, and he's promised that it's going to come back and personally interview Judge and some others because that was brought to our attention. There are a couple other judges and people that we also need to talk to. But as I mentioned before, this kind of sparked some ideas and some notions about living legends. We talked about the deceased alumni, Richard Wright and others who contributed to society. But we have some people who are with us now that we need to recognize. The 65 National Basketball Championship team, politicians. We were supported by the city council, by the board of supervisors and others. We have people from all walks of life. So on next Tuesday at the basketball game, they're going to unveil the banner for the 2021 championship basketball team. But also we have these shirts, and I know many of you can't see it on radio. Those who may be viewing the podcast and Facebook can note that we have a Living Legends shirt, and we have hundreds of living legends who attended Lanier High School, and all of us really should be applauded for our efforts because we went through the struggle.
You're right
I
about
heard
that. Yes, sir.
the judge talk about the struggles, and we thought that we had gone through the struggles, but looked like the struggle continues. So we want to talk about our accomplishments and what we've done in the past, but we also want to know what it is that we need to be doing now because we can't be complacent. We can see now that if certain people in power had their way, then we'd be put all the way on the back burner. So
unfortunate, brother. That's solid truth right there.
Yes,
that's solid truth.
So it's up to us now to come out. I invite you to come out next Tuesday to the men and women basketball game where there's going to be unveiling, like I say, of the banner and also noting our living legends.
That's going to be at Lanier.
That's going to be at Lanier.
Okay.
Yeah.
833.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So,
well, we appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you coming. And man, I won't be on there again before next Tuesday, but we certainly want people to You know, when things happen out there, it'd be a sellout anyway.
Right,
So,
that's right, that's right, that's right.
Come
That's
out and tell people that you can.
There you go. There you go. So I want to appreciate, sometimes you hesitate on calling names, but I don't mind calling names of people who need to be recognized because, Brother Stokes, Landon Stokes, a lot of people think, different things, but that brother's out there hustling, beating the street, but he's also making sure that 833 Nation is on the map. Hazel Bryant Shields, our president of the National Alumni Association, has been in the trenches for years. Brother Al Thomas and Lee Bernard and others who have been a beacon of light for Lanier and
Kept the fervor going.
yes, sir.
Kept
Yes,
it going,
sir.
the momentum
Yes, sir.
going. Yeah.
So we just want to come out and support those and ask for those who went to Lanier to become members of the National Alumni Association. Because we have a lot of people who are alumni, but you are not a member. The dues, we just ask them for $10. And the first 50 people who join will get a National Alumni shirt. So
Fantastic.
we got some incentive there. So
Fantastic.
be looking for that. It's online. It'll be on Facebook. We got some flyers out there and some things will be circulating as far as our social media communication.
Well, Caesar, you've been one of the people I know whenever I want to know anything, I could call Caesar. And because you're at the forefront, you're in the forefront of what activities go on for the alumni.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
know, we want people to know what the Lanier is all about.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, again, Judge, I thank you for this few minutes of interrupting your time because I know you got some important stuff to share. But I just want to personally appreciate you and your efforts
Thank you, brother.
and what you've done, not just for Georgetown or Lanier, but for Jackson and the community as a whole. And you fighting the fight, and we got your back.
I appreciate that, brother, man. That gives me courage right there, brother. All the way. 833 Nation.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
glad you came, brother.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes,
brother.
sir.
Okay. All right.
So that's next Tuesday.
Yes,
It's gonna be the unveiling of the 100-year
2021 basketball ban.
basketball ban.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for coming, brother.
Thank
C.
you. Thank you.
You know, for those of us, and we're still here, who understand what the struggle was all about, and we cannot allow ourselves or our children to forget or not know what the struggle is about, because they say if you don't know your past, you're doomed to repeat it, especially the negative parts of it. And what I'm saying about that, here, like with Brother Seegers and those of us who went through that Lanier process, and the Lanier is still there, when it was an absolutely segregated school. I mean, segregated by law. And this is why I keep saying too, now you look at Jackson Public School District right now, you wouldn't call it segregated, it's separated. It ain't segregated by the law, but you'd be hard pressed to find any white students in Jackson Public School. Matter of fact, at this point, you're kind of hard pressed to find any students in Jackson Public Schools. Now that's a real issue. But I'm going to get into that more in depth, and I want to hear from you this evening because we got to, some people that were jumping in, you talk about it. Yes. We're going to talk about it until people realize the absurdity of how they're running our school district. The absurdity of how they're running our school district. But before I go any further, one other thing I want to make note of. I called my friend and brother, the sheriff, Tyree Jones, on an issue with a child that was abducted over the past weekend. And I appreciate the effort that he put forth in contacting the proper agencies, law enforcement agencies. The child was way out in Utah, but they got her back here. I appreciate that effort. Because I can tell you from my own personal experience, you know, when we say Amber Alert, a lot of law enforcement, especially when it comes to black kids, they get lazy. Well, they don't want to say, oh, that's a civil matter. Oh, well, she took the child to him, blah, 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 yada, yada, and all of that. Amber Alert means just that. The child is not back where it's supposed to be. Period. So I commend the sheriff and now interim chief of police for getting on that and making this happen. And I know the family is very pleased, very pleased. So I want to commend them on that because you know it deserves that recognition. But you know, I'm pleased that people are beginning to listen. Because I said sometimes people call in and at first it wasn't real sincere, but there's some sincerity in the question. What can we do, Shamsuddin? We put people in office. Well, number one, we can register. We can register to vote, and we can vote. Those who don't mean us any good, and I'm saying that very sincerely, those who don't mean us any good, revel in the fact that they say black people don't vote. I'm talking about just black and white folks. They revel in that old adage, black people don't vote. We need to register and we need to vote. But it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. When we put these people in office, we have to monitor them to be sure that they do what we put them there to do. But because unfortunately, too many times, the people who really get out there and hustle for these positions of authority to be in control of our money, they already have a plan for themselves. As obvious, you can look around us in the county and the city, even up to now. They have a plan for themselves and their friends. But they act like they got this magnificent plan that we yet to see from any of them that's going to make things better. And the only way they've been able to get away with that is on us. We haven't been watching. We haven't been watching. So they get in these offices and say, oh, why ain't nobody looking at, you know, we supposed to have had an audit. The last audit I had, two of the council members on here on my show before who said they had an audit in Jackson since 2022 or 3. Or even before that. How are you gonna manage money? You don't even know how much you got. How you gonna do that? Where did they do that at? So the process is we need to know who's in your ward, who is your council person. And then beyond that person, that phone down there in that office is a public phone. Why the questions become, why don't you tell us anything that's happening before it gets done? How come you're not coming out in our community in the ward when you were campaigning and holding meetings to help us understand what's getting ready to take place? As opposed to we hearing about they done raised the taxes on this, they done raised the bill on that, or we didn't give away with this or whatever. Why are you not out here having community meetings to keep us informed of these things so we can have input into it as we go along? So that's things that can be done. That can be done. We got a call? Go ahead, call.
Yes, Judge. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes.
Listen, today, Judge Wingate had that hearing for that rate increase for Jackson Water. And I was very upset that, first of all, the community didn't come out. This directly affects them. Secondly, I think every council member on the city council should have been in that courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
I just only saw 2 council members present. That was Ms. Clay and the young guy that just got elected. Why is it that our leaders weren't there fighting for the people? Their peers alone would say, hey, we're not for this here. And not only the elected officials, the people of Jackson, at what point does Black people stand to say, hey, we done had enough of this, and we show unity and solidarity that we're tired of being taken advantage of in our community?
Well, do you said a mouthful there, sister, and I agree with you 100%.
All right, thank you for accepting my call, but the next hearing is that courtroom should be full.
I agree with you 100%. Thank you for your call, sister.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Miss Sweet,
Yes.
I've been blessed this evening. I tell you, how you doing, Miss Sweet? This is Ali, one of your former students. One of your former students, Miss Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm good. How you doing?
Your station often, and we went to church tonight. One of my class, I went to Lanier High School.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
graduated in 1948.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And we had there are three of us that we know of that were living, and we lost one of them last Friday. Her name is Eula. Oh, dear God, I can't even think it. It's gone out of my head. Eula was my classmate, and Johnetta Jordan. The three of us were living, and now it's just Johnetta Jordan and me. And I just wanted to announce it that Eula died.
Mm.
I can't think of her last name. I called it 1,000 times.
Yes.
She died. Her funeral is Friday.
Well, I'm sure there are those out there who, by you mentioning her, being a Lanier graduate and her name, there are those out there who can picture her right now just from the information that you've given.
Eula Horton was
Horton.
her maiden name.
Horton.
And you Horton and her three brothers went to Lanier. And they are dead.
Well, I want to be one of those, Miss Sweet, to say I really appreciate you as a teacher, because you're one of those teachers who really motivated the students, motivated us to get out in the world and know that nobody was going to hand us anything, and we had to be prepared. And I'm one of those. I want to tell you now, I really appreciate you.
Well, out to students, the class of 1948. We've been active for over 50 years having Christmas dinner. And at that dinner, we would give monies for scholarship to the best paper given by a Lanier High School student that was getting ready to graduate that whatever year that was. We did stuff like that. We didn't just sit back and not try to help my class. There were over 200 of us in the class, and now there are just two of us left.
Well, thank God for you.
And this child was very active. Her name is, and if anybody, we could be missing some people that won't come up and say, we found out a lot. We went to college and we found out that they wouldn't come if they hadn't gone to college. And when we had to go out and get them and bring them in, and hey, you're still us. You're still a Lanier High School graduate.
That's right. That's right.
And and you all don't realize that we had 2 or 3 pilots. One was shot down 3 times in the war right after World War II.
Right.
And we had, I don't know how many medical doctors, and we just had good stuff.
Well, we had good teachers. I always say, Miss Sweet, we had good teachers, you being one of them. And people need to know, just from you, not only did you produce good students, You produced two wonderful children. You had former Judge Denise Sweet Owens, who was a Chancery Court judge who just retired. Dennis Sweet, a very prominent attorney here in Jackson. So, you know, your efforts and what you...
And don't forget Salika Sweet, my medical doctor.
Yes, ma'am.
That called me tonight. She follows this station, even though she didn't go to Lanier. She follows you all. And she told me tonight, oh, Mom, you need to try to tell them about Miss Morgan. They might announce it. And if somebody hears that they were her classmate, you might get somebody to say, hey, she was in school with me and be at the funeral.
When is the funeral going to be, Miss Sweet?
Saturday.
This coming Saturday at any particular church?
The funeral.
Saturday.
Catholic Church on Lynch Street down from Jackson State.
Right. Would you happen to know about what time the funeral is going to be?
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. Thank you so much, Miss Sweet.
And then her body is the Morgan boy over on Woodrow Wilson. Who was not the Morgan? The
Jackson
the
Memorial.
body is on the funeral home on Woodrow Wilson.
Jackson Memorial.
Jackson Memorial. Her body is there, and the wake family hour is Friday.
Well, we thank you for that information, Miss Sweet. Thank you
I
so
mean,
much.
it might be somebody we are missing. It was over 200, and we just been having when we started out, we had way back there about 40, but it's down to just 2 of them. Me, I was the youngest one. I was 16 years old. They were like 18 and
Right.
19.
Right.
At Lanier.
You know, back in the day, and then started again, though, but, you know, we went to Lanier from 7th through 12th grade, you know, so.
We there.
Yes,
And it
ma'am.
was- I didn't only go to Lanier, I taught there.
You sure did.
And at Lanier, when it was 7th through 12th grade, and there when they opened up Lanier in the new school. You know, we were over on Ash
Ash
Street.
Street. Yes, ma'am.
That's where we went to Lanier in that building.
Right. I remember they
Hold
students
on, I
marched
bet
them.
you somebody called me.
Yeah, Miss Sweet was one of the teachers there that really took time to really deal with us.
That was my
children.
daughter.
Well, we appreciate you calling, Miss Sweet. Thank you so much for giving us that information. Bye-bye. But, you know, everything gonna have in, they say, brighter sides. Even though we were segregated by law, we had teachers who really cared about us. And even though they were underpaid by law, they couldn't get paid the same thing the white teachers got paid. And our facilities was not the same standard as the white schools. A lot of people even now today don't realize Murrah was all white, Provine was all white, Wingfield was all white, Callaway was all white. Those schools we didn't go to by law. Now here we are, Jackson Public School, 97% black. And nobody wants to go to it. Why? It's the question. You see? And here we are with a school district of $434 million and closing schools. Like our children don't need to be educated. Okay. Go ahead, call you on there.
Thank you for taking my call, Judge. How you doing?
Reverend Jackson, how you doing, brother?
Listen, man, you got a good show tonight. When you start to talking good talk, make it make sense. When you're talking about the struggle.
Yes, sir.
If anybody ought to know about that struggle, still around, you and I ought to know.
Yes, sir.
And many people think it's a joke. Years ago, when you could go downtown on Capitol Street, if you looked at a white woman back there, they'll put you in jail for reckless eyeball.
Reckless eyeballing. Yes, sir. That was a fact.
That's no lie.
That was a fact. That was a fact.
And a lot of times, it's not who you know, it's who know you. Back there, then you know it, and I know.
Yes.
And I thank God for people like Pete Brown, one of the professional black golfers who went to the pros, and we was proud of it. And you know, and I know. That was the thing back at the end, being a caddy, making a little more money that you can home help mom and dad.
Right. Lot of brothers used to go caddy before they went to school in the morning. They go out there and
Listen,
caddy a few
right
rounds.
there early.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks
Make
do
those
not
few
know. See, if time will allow, but one day, I want you to know this. You will be on. I assure you that. You will be on. Gonna be on it on your show for the work that you do. I know you. Folks don't know what you went through. And I thank God for the people that we had with us back there then when we folks say, did you really stand up before the Klan? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. We did that. Is it lying?
You're not lying, and you were right there. You were right there. You know, you were one of those, and there were many others. There was others in the black community and some in the white community. But we refused at that point in time to let the Klan march through our city and intimidate our family. It wasn't gonna happen.
You know what, Jerry? When people get elected, and I like this slogan you say, they never tell you before they start running, they don't know what to do.
Right.
Listen, when they get in office, when they get up there, and them white folks know how to get you when you ain't never had nothing, ain't used to nothing, feeding you all of this different stuff and so forth, and getting you all
Teach, bro.
wind up and
Yeah.
drinking up.
Yeah.
You know what? You done changed on your folks.
Right. Right.
You know, and I know the late senior Lumumba. He said, if you don't love your folks, you will betray them.
You will betray them.
And that's a true fact.
We see it all the time,
See?
Reverend Jackson. We see it all the time.
And let me say this, Jerry. Our problem is us. When we get a nickel above the dime
Oh, come
and
on.
move out of the hood and go in another neighborhood, we act like we don't know nothing.
You don't know nothing. It didn't come from
And
the
we
same
fed you
experience.
out for a cheese snack.
Yes, sir.
And I thank God for the teacher that you taught about tonight. Thank God for her, and I pray that she live a long time.
Yes,
And
great
listen,
sweet.
Jerry,
Great sweet.
you need lawyers like Dennis Sweet and Blackman and others. Those brothers know about the struggle.
Know about it.
And listen, and they'll stand up and fight for you, like Miss Lisa Rawls. I thank God for that one. See, now you know and I know. Years ago, when we was coming up, if you had it at the country club and what have you, you know all of the judges, you know everything, because they had their meetings right there on the country club.
Uh-huh.
Right there on the green.
Right.
If you worked in the clubhouse, you know some of everything.
Well, you know how they did with us, with the white folks used to do, and this is the mentality that make America great again. That's what they're talking about. You remember they used to deal with us like we wasn't even there. They talk their business
Right.
like they talk around us like we a piece of furniture. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's just the way they dealt with us. and they want to be able to deal with us like that still. Thanks for calling, Reverend Jackson. I got to take some of my other calls.
Thank you so much, Judge. And you be blessed, Judge, and keep doing what you're doing.
Yes, sir. I intend to. Thank you so
And
much.
we with you now. Don't you ever forget that.
That gives me strength, Reverend Jackson.
I be buried in my grave.
That gives me strength, Reverend Jackson. Thank you, brother. You know, and this is something that, you know, I use that term. I was talking with Councilman Harley once. He said, "What's that term you use, something?" I say, shyster elitists. Shyster elitists. What is that, Chancellor? That's these people who, before we put them in positions of authority over our money, most of them didn't have two nickels to rub together. Then once they got there in their position, now they're way above us. We can't tell them nothing. They don't have to come and ask us no questions. They don't have to try to get any information from us because they know everything. That's what they become, shyster elitists. And then everything that they come up with, every plan they come up with is some kind of plan for them to make some money. And we're seeing that. Look at our streets. Look at our schools. Look at our thoroughfares. Look at that, and the utility companies got to the point that they said, well, look, everybody else getting rich off of them. So now the electric company, entity, soon as a winter hit, your bill go up 300%. And you've done nothing different. You've been in this location for 10 years. Now, all of a sudden, entity saw that, hey, the officials over there ain't watching nothing. They're too busy stealing. So we'll just raise everybody's bill 300%. Then the water, they jumped in on it too. Water, here we paying for water that we can't drink. Think about that. We paying for water we can't drink. We used to pay a water bill once every other month. Now we pay every month. They still say they don't have enough money. But they think we just don't have enough sense to think. And that's why I keep saying we're not dumb. We're not stupid. That we can't add 1 and 1. And can't figure out, well, if you were getting paid, we're paying you every other month. You raised our bill and now getting paid every month. Why is it that you don't have enough money? Just because you say you don't have enough money, that's what it amounts to. Tell us anything. That's what they want to think. How do we deal with that, Brother Chancellor? We go to these city council meetings. We go to these board of supervisors meetings. Go to the school board meeting. And look them in their face and ask them questions. They don't let them think you don't have a right to. We put them in these positions. We put them in these positions. They don't just come out here and take over positions. We put them there, so they need to answer to us. When we begin to understand, we now in Jackson, we are the government. Does that mean we're going to be trying to take revenge and get even? No. It means that we should be living a better life. That's what it means. We are the government in Hinds County. We should be living a better life. Our schools shouldn't be closing with $434 million of our tax money. Go ahead, Carly, you on there. Good to hear your voice. How are you?
Good to hear your voice. With all due respect, bring your win tonight. That information and just I don't know what it is, but you energize us, and this is the kind of message that we need to hear. This is a must that we have to hear this kind of message because we are too relaxed, and we can't let these folks get in these positions and do nothing. We may not agree politically on the same agenda. We may not agree together on politics, but we have to agree how we're going to coexist together because there's no way in the world that Black folks should live any different than white folks. Right. And we live from Jackson to Clinton. So politically, no, we ain't got to agree. But if you're going to give white folks in Clinton more than you give Black folks in Jackson, and we ain't
2 miles away from each other. That's not gonna work here.
Right.
I called for service 2 weeks ago. Early in the morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody hit a light pole on Raymond Road, and it tore down all the lights there. So I want you to know from 3 o'clock that morning to about 2 o'clock that afternoon, don't you know it took them that long to put a light pole back up there? How in the world you got a public service commissioner to keep the staff come from the community, out of the community, and refuse to get our light poles? I'm sorry, I'm by the airport.
Mhm.
Refuse to get indigent to get our lights on. And if they even blink in Madison County, they got them lights on back up there. It's unacceptable. I remember when he ran, he talked about Brent Bailey, the man that had the position that he just took over, and he talked about how our water should have never got in the position that it had gotten in when we had that water shortage and that water loss up in Jackson. I always hear about the light bill and stuff. And so now when I throw it back in his face, they get upset when we throw it in his face. But see, we didn't know about what the roles and the responsibility of a public service commissioner was until the chief of staff started running for that position, told us what the white man wasn't doing. So now he's not doing it. So when we throw it back in your face, don't get mad with. We just want you to be true. We want to be treated fairly, because when you educate him and throw it back in your face, again. I love you, Judge. I love to hear you, and I love the information that you bring us. Have a good evening.
Thank you for your call, sister. You know, and when you can hear it in the call of voices, you know, that exasperation, you know, and it's not a personal thing. You know, even when I talk about the school, as much I do with Dr. Green over there, he shouldn't be there. I mean, that's a fact. I don't even know the guy personally. But what with a C-rated school district, you get a $50,000 raise? What would constitute that? With $434 million. Now you think about this now. I gotta keep putting this out there so we can kind of wrap our minds around it. Because again, we ain't dumb, we ain't stupid. The city of Jackson's budget is $323 million with 150,000 citizens. Has to take care of all of that. And here's a school district over here with 17,000 students. 17,000. And a budget, money in the bank, money that they have control over. They don't have to ask the legislator how to spend it. And those 7 school board members over there, and that superintendent, and them 22 assistants that he got making over $100,000 a year, can't run the school district with $434 million that they got to close schools and cram students into schools and losing students. The census say we got 38,000 children in Jackson. I'm talking about black and white. 38,000 between the age of 5 and 18. Just between the age of 5 and 18, 38,000. And only 17,000 are in our schools. What the rest of them? Why don't they want to go to public school? Do they get all this money? How can you, if you ain't got enough money for our children, how can you afford to get a $50,000 raise? That's why I'm keep saying to us, you know, they want to keep thinking that we don't think. You know, white folks have been in this process for 200 years before they even let us get involved. So, you know, we haven't been too long in the process. So we learning. We learning. They're good at it. They're good at how they can steal and whatever that they're good at. Because they've been at it long. But we can't afford it. We can't afford it. See, because they're so sophisticated, the ones that we put in charge, they say, now y'all can steal what we allot for you to steal, but give us out. Now you go around here and you see these private schools doing better than public schools. And we supposed to have all the tax money. Why is that? Go ahead, call you on there.
Good evening, Mr. County Dean.
Good evening.
I was calling because you heard the word I can't afford. That's the problem I got. I can't afford the increase on the water. I can't afford the tariff to pay the extra taxes from this terrorist tax that the president had enacted on the whole country. And I can't afford the fact that now that we don't have access to health insurance because they didn't revise the Obamacare. Now we stand a chance of going to jail because we can't afford insurance. So I'm saying, how does the city council and the judge and Jackson Water could still consider charging us money when we make the less money in the whole year? We're the poorest people in the United States. We worked and didn't make no more than minimum wage when we were working. Now they want to still take more money, like we can afford to pay any sum of money that they come up with that we need to pay. Where is it going to stop? Like I say, the white folks threw tears in the harbor because they're being taxed. Because they felt like they should have been taxed. I'm saying, what we should do is take those water bills. I'm going to say something more.
I got you, brother. I got you. I got you. Thank you, brother. But see, that's about these bogus water bills. Something should tell you something's wrong with the system if a residential home get a $7,000 water bill. If a residential home get a $17,000 or $18,000 water bill, it should tell you something wrong with that system right there. Where before that, their water bill may have been $100 a month. Something to tell you. I mean, what does it take for anybody to see that? Hey, something wrong with this system. We got a problem here. And instead of telling people we're gonna put you on a payment plan to pay for something that you didn't get, start from zero and say, get the thing in order and go from there. But we can't afford to have people. Okay, well you owe $17,000, but you can pay us $100 a week or something like that. For what? If somebody came by your house and said, "Look, I'll paint your house one day, but I want you to pay me $100 a week until I get around to it," I don't think you want to do that. So they come to us with these absurdities as if this is the 1950s. That's why I say, the things we used to tell people up north, we had to show them. People used to talk about the different strategies. Malcolm X had his and Martin Luther King had theirs. And people say, well, why are the children out there sitting in and then they're getting attacked with the fire hoses and whatnot? The strategy, that was their strategy. Not that we want to put our children out there, to put us out there. I was a child, wanted to put us out there in harm's way, but our parents couldn't afford it. They had to work. They had to earn a living. They couldn't afford to be sitting in jail for 2 or 3 weeks. But a teenager could. A teenager could. So they filled the jails up with us. That was a strategy. But fortunately now we ain't got to sit in. We ain't got to march on our city council. Hopefully. We're the government. We're in charge. That's the only way they've been getting away with it. If nobody really been watching. That's how they get away with it. Where's the audit? How do we know who you've been paying and how much you've been paying? Where's the audit? That goes for the board of supervisors too. And the school board over here closed 17 schools. And they call themselves remodeling them and give all that work to one white contracting company. Go ahead, Carl. I hear your voice, brother. Good to hear you. You all right?
Yes, man, fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Hope you guys okay also. Yesterday, you had the legal profession, and there's a lot of impropriety that's taking place in Jackson citizen. We don't have anyone that we can go and sit down and stuff I feel with. That, explain to me, what is the citizen get together and put a lawsuit together? How can this be done in the first place? We sue the mayor, the city council, the legal department, energy, the water department. Just have a big lawsuit that's combining all these people that's causing us problems. And agency. Can that be done?
I would believe it can, when, we put people in offices that, what the decisions they make in the course of their duties, that can even come under scrutiny too. But, Cab, what we've been seeing, and that fact is what we've been seeing is people making decisions that are not even really in the course of their duties. They've been misappropriating our money. And I'm saying our money. So, I mean, once we start really demanding that, hey, show us what you've been doing with our money, a lot of this is going to get uncovered. I can guarantee you that. A lot of it is going to get uncovered. It's unfortunate when we put Black people in these offices of responsibility, they want to act like we asking them to do something illegal to help us with our tax money. And that's never been the case. Nobody's asking any of these elected officials to do anything underhanded or illegal. Just like I was getting ready to say about the giving all that contractual work to one white contractor. See, and I used to be in that industry. And one of the hardest things to get the big jobs from the state or the county, my company put all the bricks on the Mississippi Department of Health down there on Woodrow Wilson, on Miguel. But one of the biggest problems we used to get, well, you can't afford to bond for these big projects. We can't afford to. Nothing prevented these school board members, nothing prevented all these assistant superintendents over there, whatever they call them now, from sitting down and breaking up those projects so that minorities could get the bulk of it. That's all it took, was just a little time to not be lazy and say, okay, well, maybe we don't have a Black company that can get all 17, that can bond to work on all 17 schools, but I bet you, if you broke the jobs down school to school, a lot of Black businesses could have got some work. And just think of it from the fact, with all these schools closed, think of the amount of revenue that would be generated if those schools were up and running. Just think of the amount of revenue that would be generated. We had to put teachers in those schools, janitors, office workers, cafeteria workers, bus drivers. Think of the amount of money that would be generated for the city of Jackson if the people over there would understand that that's what taxes are about, creating jobs.
The public school has superintendent their thoughts and spending. They're giving each other raises, spending the money that way instead of the students.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Let me ask you about the gas company. I know that the gas company is making a real big appearance around the city of Jackson. The subcontractors all over the city repairing gas lines. Now, I was riding through the city and I saw that today. It's a lot of work going on through Atmos Energy and their contractors. Now, if this is such an urgent matter now, just think about the amount of gas that's been lost by these old pipes and things underground that we've been using for years and paying these high gas bills.
Exactly.
That's something that's wrong there. They're showing their hand now because they're totally in trouble. So what type of recourse would the people have? Because we didn't pay money out. We should have been paying out for high gas bills because Atmos Energy has outdated equipment in the ground.
Well, one resource we have, again, is the people that we put in these elected offices, the mayor, city council, county board of supervisors, superintendents. That's our first line of defense. They're the ones who should be putting pressure on Atmos or any of these energy companies to maintain their facilities, their lines or pipes or whatever in a manner that should be. But that's what I'm saying. Since we've been putting people in office for over the past 30 years who really haven't been paying attention to that. They didn't care. The only thing that they, and it's obvious, you look around and you see all the disrepair that's in this city because the effort of the people that we've been putting in office was to get in there and get rich, or get their friends rich. And if it didn't entail fixing infrastructure, then they didn't pay any attention to. That's what happened with our water. Matter of fact, when Lumumba, I'm talking about anti-Lumumba, when the deputy director or a black woman came to him and tried to tell him what needed to be done before the problem got to this critical state, he fired him. He fired him. Because they didn't want to know. You know, that didn't go along with their agenda.
Yeah, they look the other way, Judge. That's sad, and that's why we used to say we in now. That's why we paying for the changes and everything else down the water system, and we can't even drink the water that we're paying for.
Exactly, Cap. You're right on the money, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate your call, brother.
Thank you.
But you know that's the solution. The solution is not unsurmountable. What we've started putting people in these offices, we've been doing it now for almost 30 years. Now we got to let them know we will watch you, we will monitor you, and you will not go back into office if you don't live up to the promises that you made. You never hear anybody running for any office saying, I don't know what to do. They got all the answers while they campaign, then disappear once they get in office. And they disappear because they don't want us to know the things that they are doing. If they were doing things that they should be, they'd be in the news, they'd be making sure that everybody knew what they were doing. But how many times do you see any of the city council members, or the board of supervisors, or that school board over there doing anything of any significance? I'm talking about filling a ditch or having one program for some students in one school. Why you got a C-rated school district and cramming students in schools that are supposed to be in these schools together? They just thought they had it too good. But, you know, there's an old saying, and I found it to be true. One thing that you can count on the devil to overdo it. I used to figure, what? You count on the devil to overdo it. If he gets away with a little bit, he's going to try to get away with a lot. Can't help it. That's the attitude of the devil. Devil mentality. Devilish mentality. We suffering, our children suffering, while others think they're okay because they're making a good salary or getting a kickback from some contract. Devilish mentality. Our children are important. People want to talk about how bad our children are. Go to any of these fast food restaurants. I don't care. Clinton, by the way, Clinton, these surrounding cities, they're predominantly black. They don't want you to know that, but they are. They are. But you go to any of these fast food, Popeyes, churches, wherever you want to go. Who in there? I don't care if you go way out in North Jackson. Our children. Who's serving you your food? Who cooking back there in the kitchen? Our children. People that don't want nothing, they don't want. When you then coming out of a Burger King with a sack full of burgers that somebody's child just handed to them. We gotta stop falling for the okie doke. And help people know that, you know, this stigma, that if you want things to go bad, just put black people in charge. Because my good friend Reverend Jackson said that that's been the major problem we've had in putting people in these elected offices. But he said, you can't put a hungry dog over the church, over the smokehouse. So people want to say that they are serving other people. We got to hold them to that. We got to hold them to that. So I appreciate your calls every week. Cause I can hear it in your voice and people say, well, what can we do? We're gonna keep at it until we do. Everybody understand. First of all, register to vote, cause they don't want you to vote now. They still like that. They don't want you to vote. Register, vote, and vote, and then monitor. I don't care, white or black, monitor whoever say they represent you for anything. I ain't somebody just go down and do no sit-ins and nothing like that. Just a group of people, citizens. We come to here, but all these meetings before we open. We don't have no closed meetings when they start talking about how they gonna spend our money or who they gonna give our money to. See, and we won't have any more incidents like that where 4 members of the city council voted to give this white law firm out of Alabama $33 million to sign an agreement that they didn't even put together. Siemens. Then when you're sitting there and you stand there looking at your council member and you saying, did you vote for that? See, with Richards, just got a 10-year, $100 million contract. Whoever your council person, did you vote for that? Why? When Richards wasn't even the lowest bidder. Why you vote for that? When you had a black-owned waste management company who was the lowest bidder and didn't get the job. But we got 5 black members on the city council. They only get away with that because we don't watch. That's the only way they can get away with it, people. We're going to put an end to that. Period. So that being said, again, this is Standing for the People. I'm Ali Shamsuddin. We're going to keep putting it out here. And they're going to see. I believe in us. I believe in humanity. Get it straight. I believe in humanity. And we're going to get this thing right. Take it out, Lady Sheree. Did that camera ever get right there?
I can't be bothered with you.
What am I doing, man? You know I'm getting
The camera get right. Yeah, the camera got right.
You're looking for you to be here, man.
Man, come over here and look and check and make sure you see you right. Or I knock it out. But y'all got too much going on.
And its content do not in any
Oh, okay.
Okay. And opinions of WMP,
All right.
its owner, management, staff.